You made a soup last winter. You did everything the recipe told you. You bought the chicken. You chopped the vegetables. You put it all in the pot and you waited. And what came out was gray, thin, cloudy on top with a little grease sitting there. And you tasted it, and it was hot water with things floating in it. So you put in more salt, and then more salt, and it still tasted like nothing. And you thought, I am not good at soup. You are good at soup. Nobody told you how it works. That is a different problem. And I can fix it in the next 10 minutes. I have been making soup for 60 years. My grandmother made it before me in a village outside Taishan, on a clay stove with no refrigerator and almost no meat. And in the 22 years I worked in a restaurant kitchen here, I made the soups. Every day, hundreds of gallons of it. And I have watched people cook here for a long time now, and it is always the same 10 mistakes. Every time, not because anybody is careless, because nobody was ever taught. So here are the 10. Some of them will sound wrong to you. One of them will sound completely crazy. Do them anyway and taste the difference. I am Nai Nai. In my grandmother's village, when somebody was not well, nobody ran to buy medicine first. First they came to the kitchen. Mistake number 1. You are using meat with no bone in it. This is the first one because everything else is built on it. You go to the store and you buy boneless, skinless chicken breast, because that is what is on the shelf at eye level, and that is what looks clean. And you put it in the pot and you simmer it for an hour, and you wonder why the soup has no body. Chicken breast has nothing to give. It is muscle. Muscle gives you a little flavor, and then it goes dry and stringy, and that is the end of it. What makes a soup feel like something in your mouth is not the meat. It is the bone and the soft parts around the joint. Those dissolve slowly into the water over hours, and that is what gives the soup that slight thickness that coats your lip. That is the whole thing. That is what people mean when they say a soup is rich. So buy bones, pork neck bones, pork ribs, a chicken back, chicken thighs with the bone in, a whole small chicken cut up. Ask the butcher for soup bones, and he will know exactly what you mean, and they cost almost nothing, because most people here do not want them. In my grandmother's village, the bone was the valuable part. The meat you could eat once. The bone fed everybody. Mistake number 2. You are not throwing the first water away. This is the one that will sound crazy. Stay with me. Before you make the soup, put your bones in the pot. Cover them with cold water and bring it up to a boil, and watch what happens. A gray-brown foam comes up to the top. It looks dirty because it is. That is blood and small bits of protein coming out of the bone. Now here is the part nobody in America does. Pour the whole pot into the sink, all of it. The water, the foam, all of it. Then rinse the bones under cold running water. Rub them with your fingers to get the gray off. Rinse the pot and start again with fresh cold water. That is 2 minutes of work. And that is the entire difference between a clear golden soup and a cloudy gray one. If you leave that foam in the pot, it stays in your soup forever. It makes it look muddy, and it gives it a slightly heavy taste, and you will never know why. Every grandmother in southern China does this without thinking about it. I have never once seen it written in an American recipe. Not once. If you only take one thing from this video, take this one. Mistake number 3. You are starting with hot water. You boil the kettle to save time, and you pour hot water over the bones. Do not do that. Start with cold water, always. When you put a bone into hot water, the outside seizes up right away. It closes, and then the good things inside come out slowly, or they do not come out at all. Cold water that heats up slowly does the opposite. It opens everything. The water works its way in as it warms, and it pulls much more out. It costs you 5 extra minutes. Cold water, every time. Mistake number 4, you are boiling it too hard. I see this constantly, and it is the one that ruins the most soup after the blanching. You put the pot on, it comes to a boil, and you leave it there. Big bubbles, rolling, for an hour, and you think, well, it is cooking, it is cooking. It is also being destroyed. A hard boil smashes the fat and the little bits into pieces so small they never settle out again. That is your grease and your cloudiness. And a hard boil drives off everything delicate, so what is left tastes flat. Your soup should barely move. One bubble breaking the surface every second or two. Steam coming up, that is all. If you look in the pot and it is dancing, turn it down. In Cantonese, we call this kind of soup lo fo tong. Old fire soup, old fire, not big fire. A low patient fire that goes for hours and never rushes. Low and long. That is the whole technique. Mistake number 5, you are salting at the beginning. The recipe says season the water, so you put salt in at the start. But think about what happens over 3 hours. The water cooks down. A quarter of it goes away as steam. The salt does not go anywhere. So what tasted correct at the beginning is much too salty at the end, and by then you cannot take it out. Salt at the very end, when the soup is finished and you can see exactly how much liquid you actually have. A little bit. Taste it. A little more if it needs it. And you will find you need far less than you expected, because a soup made properly, with bone and thyme, already tastes full. It does not need salt to prop it up. If your doctor has told you to cut your salt, this is the single biggest thing you can change. It is not the shaker on the table that is the problem. It is that thin soup needed salt to taste like anything. Fix the soup and you will not miss it. Mistake number 6, you are not giving it enough time. The recipe says simmer 45 minutes, so you simmer 45 minutes. That is not a soup. That is hot water with a chicken in it. The material inside the bone that gives your soup its body will not come out in 45 minutes. It needs hours. 2 hours at an absolute minimum. 3 is where it gets good. On a Sunday, I will go 4. And I know what you are thinking. I do not have 3 hours. Yes, you do. Almost none of it is your time. You do 10 minutes of work at the start. You turn the heat down low. You put the lid a little bit off to the side, and then you walk away. You go out. You do the laundry. You have a nap. The pot does not need you. That is the beautiful part. Chinese soup is not hard work. It is patience, and patience is free. Mistake number 7. You are putting everything in at the same time. You chop all the vegetables in the morning, and they all go in together. And 3 hours later, everything in the pot is the same. Soft gray, nothing. Different things need different amounts of time. This is simple. Bones go in first for the whole time. Hard roots, like lotus root, daikon, carrot, go in early because they can take hours and they get sweeter for it. Dried things like red dates and dried mushrooms go in early too. But anything green, anything soft, anything tender goes in at the end. 10 minutes, 5 minutes, sometimes just off the heat. Leafy greens, scallion, soft tofu, herbs. If you put a green vegetable in a pot for 3 hours, you have not cooked it. You have killed it. Mistake number 8, you are putting too many things in it. This one is cultural, and I say it gently. I have watched people here make soup by opening the refrigerator and putting in everything that needs using up. Chicken and beef and 4 vegetables and a can of beans and pasta and a spice packet. You get a soup that tastes brown. That is the only way I know how to describe it. It tastes brown and busy and like nothing in particular. A Cantonese soup is usually 3 or 4 things. Bone, 1 main root or vegetable, something dried for sweetness, ginger. That is it. And because there are only 4 things, you can taste all 4. The soup tastes like lotus root, or it tastes like winter melon. It has a name and a flavor of its own. Fewer things, longer time. That is the difference between a soup and a bucket. Mistake number 9. You are throwing away the best parts. Every week you throw away the things that make soup. The chicken carcass after a roast dinner. That is a soup, and you paid for it already. The bone from the ham. The tough stems of the mushrooms. The dark green tops of the scallions. The corn cob after you cut the corn off, which makes water sweet in a way you would not believe. And the water you soaked your dried mushrooms in, which I talked about last time, and which people pour down the sink every single day. That water is the most valuable liquid in your kitchen. Keep a bag in the freezer. Every bone, every stem, every scallion top, every corn cob goes in that bag. When it is full, you have a free soup. My grandmother would not have understood any of this. In the village, the idea of throwing away a bone would have been like throwing away money. There was nothing to throw away because everything had a use. That is not a philosophy. That is just how you eat when there is not much. Mistake number 10. And this is the real one. You are treating soup like a side dish. Here, soup is the little cup before the meal, the thing you have if you are unwell, the can you open when you cannot be bothered. In my house growing up and in my house now, the soup is the meal, or it is the thing the meal is built around. You drink the broth first, warm, before anything else. Then you eat the meat and the root out of the pot with a little soy sauce. That is dinner. That fed 6 of us. And here is the part I actually want to say. The pot going on is how somebody tells you they love you. My grandmother never once said that out loud. Not in my entire childhood. She was not that kind of woman, and nobody in that village was. But when my uncle came home worn out from the fields, the pot went on. When somebody was sick, the pot went on. When I got on the boat to come to America, she made soup the night before, and she did not say anything at all. A soup takes 3 hours. When you put a bowl of it in front of somebody, they know that you spent 3 hours. That is the whole message, and you do not have to say a word. That is what your 45-minute soup is missing. Not just the collagen, the time. So, those are the 10. Bones, not boneless meat. Throw the first water away. Start cold. Keep it barely moving. Salt at the end. 3 hours, not 45 minutes. Hard things early, green things last. Fewer ingredients, not more. Save every bone and stem and mushroom water, and put the pot on for somebody who needs it. My husband, Akyung, has been eating my soup for 50 years, and he still complains it is too plain. Every time, and every time he finishes the bowl and asks if there is more. I have stopped arguing with him. Now tell me something in the comments, because I read them all. Tell me what soup somebody made for you when you needed it. Every family has one. Some houses it is chicken. Some houses it is a broth with a name I have never heard. I want to know what came to you and who made it. And tell me where you live, because I am always curious how far these old things travel. Next time I am going to show you the congee. That is rice and water and thyme. And it is what you make when a person truly cannot eat anything at all after the hospital. When a small child will not take food. When somebody is at the very bottom. It is the most comforting thing I know how to cook, and almost nobody outside of Asia makes it properly. Until then, buy some bones, throw the first water away, and do not let anybody tell you that is strange. Eat something warm. Sleep early. Come back and see me.